announcement today from Morningside University. After just 3 years, President Dr. Albert Mosley will serve his last day as president June 30th. The board of directors appointed board chair Chad Benson to serve as the interim president. Kurt White will now serve as chair of the board in Benson's place. Benson released a statement just this morning saying, quote, "Morningside is in motion and we remain laser focused on delivering an experience that equips students to thrive in a complex world through invocation, character, community, and purpose," end quote. Meanwhile, Dr. Mosley also released a statement saying in part, "I'm proud of what we've accomplished together and deeply grateful for the support and this incredible community. I know Morningside is in great hands and will continue to flourish into the future." Now, after his last day at Morningside, Dr. Mosley will move to serve as the president of Bethune-Cookman University in Florida.